But yeah, here it is. Biden, former President Trump, in a tight race for the 2024 presidency. CBS News poll finds, and actually Brandon is losing.
News latest poll numbers on the presidential race showing that former President Donald Trump is leading President Biden by 1 point. That's a statistical tie. This among likely voters if Trump is a Republican nominee. Many who responded say age is a factor for them in their decision. Nancy Cordes is here to break down the numbers. Nancy, Democrats are going to have a breakdown when they see these numbers. Good morning.
That's a possibility, Tony. Good morning. Republicans have homed in on President Biden's age as they make their case against him. And this poll shows that strategy is having an impact, not just among GOP voters, but among independents and Democrats, too. Even those who support him say they worry about someone who is already 80 years old remaining in the job until he's 86.
I know I'm 198 years old. But all kidding aside,
concerns about age are nothing new for President Biden. But the latest CBS News poll puts the problem in stark relief. Only 1/3 of respondents think Mr. Biden would be likely to finish a second term.
Yeah, if only people, dude, if only there were some like political commentators out there who pointed to this. I don't know, in the last cycle. If only someone was like, hey man, seems like this is a one-term situation, and even if it's a two-term situation, it's not going to look good, and that, not exactly super popular, and more so, it's not that he's super popular, but it's more so that, like, he was presented as the guy to beat Donald Trump when, like, there were other guys who could have also defeated Donald Trump, and they were not seen as, like, reasonable alternatives, so... But, of course, no one could have. Oh, just kidding. I'm not even hyping myself up. Everybody said that. Like, literally everyone outside of MSNBC. Fuck it. Even people at MSNBC sometimes said it. You know what I mean? Not pro-Bernie, but still. Like, virtually everyone was like, I don't want to vote for this guy. He's, like, decrepit. But what other option do I have at this point? I just don't want fucking Donald Trump to be the president. Oh. He wasn't picked as the guy to beat Trump. He was picked as the guy to beat Bernie. No, but he also was like promoted as the only guy who could beat Trump in an effort to destroy Bernie's chances in the primary, which worked. It worked. It worked so goddamn good. It worked so goddamn good he didn't even have to fucking step foot in any of the Super Tuesday states, and he still wiped everybody out. Okay? So frustrating.
If reelected, while 55% think his likely Republican rival, Donald Trump, would finish his term, even though he was born just 3 years after Mr. Biden.
Do I wish we had a younger president? Absolutely.
CBS News spoke to Democratic voters in Westchester, Pennsylvania about their concerns this weekend.
You need someone with a little more energy level.
When I see him move, he looks old, but when I hear him and his ideas, I think they're youthful.
Mr. Biden's doctor says his stiffened gait is a product of spinal arthritis and a recent foot fracture, but that otherwise he is a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old male.
80's the new 40, didn't you hear?
Healthy, vigorous 80-year-old man. She's laughing, bro. That's nuts, dog. That's like, you can't, if your press secretary can't fucking say the propaganda that she's being paid to say with a straight face, like, there's something real wrong here, okay? Anne geldi. No problem.
80-year-old male.
80's the new 40, didn't you hear?
But the poll shows that voters' worries go beyond physical fitness. Respondents were far more likely to say that only Trump, and not Mr. Biden, has the cognitive and mental health to serve.
Why do you think so many Americans still say they have concerns about someone in their 80s?
Dog, it's because people respond. People respond to what they see. That's it. Okay? Donald Trump is also fucking 80, but he is far better and far more telegenic than Joe Brandon is. That's it. I would go so far as to say the same about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is older than both of them. And yet, when he's on camera, you don't see it. Trump is 78, not 77. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I'm simply stating is that, like, Trump is a little bit younger than Joe Brandon, but ultimately he presents as much better than Joe Biden does. Same with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is older than both Trump and Joseph Robinette Biden, and yet if you watch him on television, no, he's 77. Wait, let me see. How old is Trump? I thought he was 78. Not that it fucking matters. Bro, that's so old. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he is 77. My bad. Sorry. Fake fan, I know. I thought it was 78. Anyway. So, he's 77 years young, so he's good. Joe Brandon, on the other hand, what is he, like 80? Joe Brandon is 80. He's too old to be president. And about to be 81. The 80 years old of today are the 70-year-olds of 10 years ago. But do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean? This poll has Trump winning 17% of the black vote and 47% of the Hispanic vote. Like, come on. If you think that Trump winning 17% of the black vote and 47% of the Hispanic vote is actually not a conservative estimate, I don't know what to tell you. Those numbers are real, okay? No, don't say fuck no. Chat, I've been talking about this for some time. That literally tracks, okay? Oh my God, I hate this conversation. Chat, that abso-fucking-lutely tracks. Dude, okay. Without Googling, tell me what percentage of the black vote did Donald Trump win last time? Don't Google it. I didn't study. Okay, everybody's dropping crazy numbers. Hispanic people vote less and less on racial lines every election. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. People don't realize that. 70% of Hispanic people in the country identify as white. Something to consider. Okay? A 5% increase from 12% to 17% is not outside of the fucking boundaries, okay? It's not completely ridiculous to assume that Donald Trump would be able to increase his support. Especially when he already has. Hasan, are you right-wing? Yes. Hispanic support is also moving in the opposite direction. Okay? This is a literal point of contention. Black voters in the past would just simply stop voting for one reason or the next, right? Because Republicans would make it hard for black voters to vote. Okay? However, nowadays, at least what we've seen so far, what we've seen thus far is that, especially in certain demographics, Donald Trump and the Republican Party in general are doing a very good job of changing, like actually bringing voters to their side. Okay? Please stop talking about Spanish-speaking American voters as monolithic. They're Puerto Rican, Dominicans, Mexicans, Hondurans. Come back. What? Peruvians and Joanne. They all hate each other and do not vote as Black Democrats need to realize this. Stop calling me the Hispanic vote. God damn it. No, black voters are the only voting bloc outside of, I guess, like white men without a college education that has consistently voted in a monolithic fashion. But that in and of itself is actually changing. Okay? And you're right. The Hispanic voter bloc has always been incredibly diverse. Like, but in the past, the Latino voting population, you could still make assessments on. It was never a monolith. There were certain concepts that were analyzed, like overall you could parse out, you could separate like the Cuban and Venezuelan voting populations that had a dramatically different opposing viewpoint on which party is better. And then the rest of the Latino voter bloc across the country was voting in the direction of Democrats. Part of that was also age. Part of that was also a lack of personal wealth that they've accumulated. As time changes, as time moves on, and the Latino voters get older, they have a little bit more capital, they are going to predictably move in the different direction. Now, on top of that, the Republicans have done a very good job of making single-issue voters out of a lot of Latino voters, which 70%, remember, identify as white. Okay? So that's important to recognize. So what they've done is recognize, like the Texas GOP is one to follow closely on this because, you know, there is a shit ton of Latino voters in Texas. Texas is red, very red. How did that work, you know? And the Texas GOP recognized a long time ago that the Hispanic Latino voter population actually across the board, Trump won 8% of the vote, not 12. Oh, sorry, 12% of black men, 8% of black voters overall. So listen, I'm gonna get back to that conversation in a second. Okay. Latino voters across the board, even on older demographics, are oftentimes, especially in older demographics, are oftentimes very Christian, very Catholic, and very socially conservative. And yet there's one factor that they care about above all else. They are, no matter how you ask them this question, even in the most like antagonistic way possible, they are in support of big government. Okay? This is something that is very unique. They are in support of bigger government initiatives, which is a way, like a framing of this question that is like inherently a negative connotation associated with it. And yet Latino voters say that they're in favor of it. Now, in the absence of the Democratic Party tailoring or crafting a message towards Latino voters that is in favor of better government initiatives, okay, there's only one thing left that they would vote on, which is social conservatism. Okay? My dad is homophobic but likes big government. That's it. Democrats can't go, all right, fuck all the religious shit. Don't worry about that, okay? We're not going to touch any of that. But you want good social programs? We got you. They don't even do that shit. They just lie. They rely on the Republican Party being racist. They're like, hey, look at these fucking racist Republicans. Come on, vote for us. Trump said Mexicans are rapists. And then you got fucking Mexican Americans who are like, no, Trump is right. Mexicans are rapists. Yeah, and also he's a real Christian, and I care about abortion, and I hate socialism now. We're going to fucking go and vote for Trump. Like, what are you doing? If you don't offer people anything, why the fuck would they vote? Have you done your homework on Latino voter stats recently? Are you quoting stats from college? I haven't looked at this that recently. This was like polling done polling done from a couple years prior, not from college. But you are seeing, for the record, you are personally seeing a sea change right now. You're seeing a change in the you're seeing a change in the attitude. Okay? You're seeing a change in Latino voting blocks and the black voting bloc moving not in the predictable direction of like maybe not voting, but instead in certain instances actually voting for the Republican Party. And this is minor, certainly minor, but it signals certain polls shifting in this country. Okay? That's important because if the Democratic Party keeps losing the black voting bloc, okay, due to circumstances like voter suppression and also due to a lack of interest in the Democratic Party to do anything that materially protects them, okay, that's one thing. But if they start losing voters and they start going and voting in the other direction, then we're talking about an entirely different situation. So saying like, oh man, no black people are voting for Donald Trump, I mean, you're missing the forest for the trees. Signs of weakness for the Democratic Party among Hispanic voters. While most Hispanic voters plan to vote for Democrats in November, they overwhelmingly say they're voting on economic issues. 54% say they're voting on economic issues. 56% still say they're voting for the Democratic candidate. Who do you agree more with on the economy? 43% say Democratic Party, 41% say Republican. Bro, other voting blocks, they would literally say they agree with the Republican Party. Like, lifelong Democrats would be like, yeah, I agree with the fucking Republican Party, actually, on the economy. That in and of itself is a continuation of the thing I was mentioning to you, is that like Latino and Hispanic voter blocks are significantly more open-minded to big government initiatives or more social safety nets. You fucking ask them, though. You ask them, like, who has your better interest in mind as it pertains to, like, gun rights or abortion and shit like that. They're going to fucking vote for the Republicans. So stick to that message. Okay? I can fill in the gap if you want. The last 2 years, 2020, a huge shift in Hispanics happened. That was figured out later to be the religious realigning of Republicans. The trend did not continue into 2022, a polling miss. They said it would move more. It did not in the results. It matched 2020, nor any special elections since. It might have been the one time, but we will see. The Dems don't deliver on any leftism populism, so don't be shocked when the right plays off of social conservatism. Yes, the realignment is also happening on the white suburban voters, which are some of the last remaining voters out there anyway. Okay, one of the most important, one of the most pivotal votes out there. Educated white suburban voters are moving towards the Democratic Party as well. So I hate to admit this, but like the former Chuck Schumer quote comes to mind. It became the truth, right? Which is, for every vote we lose in Pennsylvania, we win 2 in the suburbs. For every blue collar vote we lose in Pennsylvania, we win 2 in the suburbs. And he's like, I mean, the numbers are not completely correct, but he's not wrong. Now, of course, I don't agree with that in principle. Okay? Like, I think it's stupid and an incredibly short-term motivated. But that is the Democratic Party's triangulation. That is their message, and that's what they are hoping to do.